Alright, everybody, welcome back to Major Gaming, and today we're going to talk about Dead by Daylight again and how behavior just cannot catch a break lately. But this is not going to be like the 20 other videos you've probably already seen on this topic about this Walking Dead live stream that happened. I'm not in the same boat as everyone else. Now, does that mean I'm gonna spend this video defending behavior and licking their asses? No, that's also not gonna happen. But I'm not gonna sit here and bitch about a live stream that I didn't care about to begin with. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all, okay? Did behavior fuck up? Yes. Did they make stupid decisions? Yes. Do I give a shit about this live stream? No, not really. Does even 95% of the DBD community really give a fuck about this live stream? Not really. No. So, I'm gonna come at this with much more of a level head, okay, than some people who are, if we're just gonna be honest, they're fucking jaded about the game and they're just looking for an excuse to be mad. I'm gonna be real with you because that just seems like what's happening at the moment. Okay, you look on DBD Twitter, it's a mess, but the game is fine. Okay, that's the thing. DBD Twitter is not the community. As much as DBD Twitter wants to think it is the Dead by Daylight community, it's not. It's just the fact. Like, there's so many people on there. The community will not stand for this. The community will fight back. The community will boycott. The community will stop purchasing. Yeah, you tweeting out to your 100 people that view the fucking tweet. Even if you get like thousands of views, you get like maybe like 1K likes. That's like the most I've seen is like between 1 and 2K likes on a post like that. And like 1 million people play this game a day, dog. Your 1 to 2K likes, not anything. I promise you, it means nothing. it's just the reality. And sure, I don't really care if people, voice their opinions and are mad or whatever. That makes sense. But to act like you are on this higher level of being because you bitch on Twitter is absolutely wild. Like, you are nothing compared to the grand scheme of things. And behavior knows this. And that's why you get into this loop of feeling like you're not being listened to. Most likely because you're not. Like, honestly. Like, unless it comes in the form of, like, the greater community, like YouTube, Reddit, everything, like, everyone really coming together on something and being like, no, this is ridiculous in terms of, like, gameplay balance or whatever. When it comes to shit like this, where, like, 4K people were watching the stream out of the 70K that play on just Steam alone, you like, people don't care, and they don't have to care. They don't have to, and if they don't care, that's fine. You on your soapbox can be on your soapbox. You can stop playing the game. Won't change anything. And I know that these comments come from a place of, like, love for the game and wanting it to be better. I want the game to be better too. But another thing I'm going to get into is that people don't know how to make this game better on DBD Twitter. They don't. Realistically. Okay? In a perfect world, what they say makes sense. But they're in this, like, mind state where they don't understand that this is not a perfect world and that their solutions are not just the only right solutions and the only way to do things. They just don't get it. Okay? Because they're not business savvy people. They don't own businesses. They're people on Twitter that work for someone else for a living, or they stream. Like, they're not business people. They just aren't. They don't understand how to run businesses. And that's just unfortunate, okay? Because Behavior is $1 million company, right? They employ a lot of people. They do a lot of shit, not just for Dead by Daylight. Now, first thing I want to bring up. Behavior will not fall if Dead by Daylight falls. They will shrink, but they will not fall. And here's why. Behavior existed before Dead by Daylight making shit for other games, right? That's even Kote in recent interviews has said they still do this. They still make money off of making games for other companies. And stuff like that. That's what they do. Dead by Daylight is a side project that exploded and made them more money. Yes. But it's not their be-all, end-all. For two, calling for the game to fail, right? Essentially, in order to get the devs to do better is not gonna work. I promise you. It won't work. And there's a reason why, okay? Very good reason why. Look at Multiverses. Look at what happened with Multiverses, okay? They tried. The devs tried. They tried so hard to get people to come back to the game. The player count kept dropping. The dev team then started falling apart. If you look at their communication, their everything. Once the player count started dropping, things didn't get better. It just didn't. The dev team became less focused on community feedback. They became there were more bugs in the game. There were more weird monetization choices. There were more just bad things that compounded and kept going and kept making the player base drop until eventually the suits were like, yeah, your game's failing. It's got to get shut down. The dropping player base did not help the devs. I don't know who the fuck in the right mind is thinking that a boycott of the player base is going to fix anything, or like the player base dropping is going to fix anything. It is not. Competition might. I see people saying, oh, we need a competitive game. So that, yes, I can agree. Competition does help. It helped with Overwatch. It can help with Dead by Daylight. But the player base dropping significantly out of nowhere will not help Dead by Daylight. It will not. Not at all. No. Because the suits are in charge, and the suits only look in terms of money. If they're making less money, the devs get less support. That's how it works. They don't just be like, oh, the player base is dropping, put more into it. That's not, no, they're not going to do that. So I don't understand why people think like boycotting the game and not playing it is going to fucking help. I can understand not spending as much money on the game. I understand. I don't even spend that much money on the game. I get the Rift passes. That's about it. Every once in a while I'll get a skin, but I don't really... And then obviously I get the chapters. But I don't spend a shit ton of money on this game, not like other people. But to drop the game entirely, to not play it, is just dumb. Because the player base dropping will not help the game. You know, spending less on cosmetics, that's not a big deal. Because the suits will look at it like, oh, you know, people are still playing, there's still interest, but they're going against us because of our decisions, by not buying things. Which, that is more reasonable than not playing and watching the player base drop, because then the suits are looking at it like, oh shit, people aren't interested in the game anymore. We can't keep pumping this much content, we can't keep these devs going like this, because they're not interested anymore. Once you lose interest, you're dead. Money, nah. Interest is the problem. Like, interest is more important. And the suits will not abide by the rules that you think they will, okay? Like, the devs won't just start locking in, okay? Like that. Now, I also wanted to talk about the fact that, like, people keep bringing up this idea that behavior should stop releasing new content until they fix the game. Horrible idea again. For one, behavior still needs to make some money here. They cannot afford to keep their multi-million-dollar business running with no new content, like, other than skins, okay? Because skins are optional. People don't always buy skins. You know, they need chapters. Marvel Rivals, they have explicitly stated that their game peaks when they bring in new content. This is a thing. The attention spans of people are very short nowadays, and we can't afford to just not put out any new content. They might be able to reduce the content, but even then, that's a scary thought, okay? Now, also, to think about, they reduce the content, the designers, the designers, the animators, like all these people that focus on making the new content, they're out of work. And they're not going to get more work. Like, literally, like, you're asking for people to lose their jobs, essentially, or have to go on leaves because you don't understand that cutting out new content does not make the bugs go away faster, because there's only a certain amount of people that are hired that can actually fix the bugs. They're programmers or like the game programmers and coders. Like, they're not the same as the people designing the new content. The people designing new content don't know how to fix that. So, like, the bug team isn't going to grow. Like, nothing's going to grow and change and move faster. So you're getting the same amount of bug fixes with less content. Like, maybe not releasing new content would lessen the amount of new bugs that come through, but eventually you're going to have to go back to releasing that new content, and unless the dev team completely fixes their game and recodes it, which will take a long-ass time, there's just going to be new bugs once they start up again, so it doesn't matter. It literally changes nothing. And then, oh, sorry, my nose is messing with me. And then there's also the fact that if you really think about it, right, chapters, when you say you have 1 million people who play on a regular basis, not even that, 100,000 people. Let's go with 100,000 people that buy a chapter every time it releases, which I think is reasonable. It's probably more. Honestly, it's probably like 200,000. Let's say 150,000 people buy the chapters day one at $5 to $10 a piece. Let's say 5, just to be on the low end of how much money behavior makes off chapter releases. So we go 150,000 times $5. That's $750,000 on a $5 chapter. If it's 10, that's like 1 million. Hold up, 150,000 times 10. If it's a $10 chapter, that's $1,500,000. That's what I thought. So, and it's possibly more money than that being made on these chapter releases. I was being kind of on the low end with the whole 150,000. Like, these chapter releases probably fund a whole year's worth of paying your workers. Like, really think about what you're talking about here. And it's funny because it's the same people that got mad when behavior fired all those employees like a year ago are the same ones that are calling for behavior to release less content. Do you not realize how hypocritical you are? You were mad that people got fired, yet you are actively asking for people to lose their jobs. Like, I don't understand. You're a hypocrite. You really are. You can't have it both ways here. Money is money. Like, please be realistic and think about what's actually happening in the world, okay? You're asking for behavior to just not do any chapters for a year. You know how many millions of dollars that is? And they gotta pay all their employees and shit. The amount of like money that they'll make off of getting these bugs out of the game is nowhere near the millions of dollars that they would lose. I guarantee you. Like millions. You're talking millions of dollars. Like, no, it's not feasible, bro. And you have a bunch of non-business people acting like they know when they don't know. It's crazy to me. And then, now, we haven't even gotten to the stream that much, but I'm just talking like about what's going on in the DBD Twitter area. Now, right? I gotta collect my thoughts. Hold on. So, there's that, right? Now, also, new content. There's a big possibility that other than original content, they can't just not do a chapter for a year. Because, like Yote said, has said in recent interviews, they already have all the content up to 2028 planned for this game. Same thing with Marvel Rivals. They plan a year ahead. So for them to just be like, oh yeah, let's they can't just not release the chapters they've already been working on. Like, for the next 3 years, they have shit lined up. They have contracts signed. They cannot just be like, oh, let's not do it. Like, they can't. Like, realistically. Like, if they look at their game right now and they're like, alright, we have the next 3 years of content planned, right? Let's just push it all back a year. Okay? Their contracts with the license holders only are a certain amount of time. And who knows what else is in those contracts they might have to release. Okay? Because of, they said themselves they like to release things around other things to help promote things sometimes. Say November is the Predator chapter. With the new Predator movie coming out. And their contract says they need to release this chapter in conjunction with the Predator movie to help promote it. They cannot not release that chapter then. They can't. They can't. They have to release it, and they have to release it during that window of time. They can't really just push it back. As far as I know, obviously I'm not. But if their contract says that, they have to do it. And that's the thing. It's like you're asking, and a lot of the work on these chapters has already started. They've probably already started work on the next 3 years of chapters. So at that point, if they stop, they're just not working on anything, and these chapters are just sitting there for no reason. Now, what they could possibly do, and maybe this would be a smart way to do it, would be to have people work on original chapters while they're not releasing content. And then once the game is like kind of fixed, they just load the game up with all the original chapters that they've created in the meantime. That could possibly do that. Like release like a chapter a month or something. Just drop like 10 killers and fucking 30 survivors all at once after they've fixed the game. Or like after they fixed a bunch of the bugs and stuff. Maybe they could do that, but that's a huge gamble. Like I said, it's a risk. Business people don't want to be risky like that. When the benefits are not guaranteed and they're not even probably going to match the millions of dollars they lost. They got to pay bills. They got to pay their employees, man. Like, please think about these things. Now, when it comes to the stream specifically, okay? For one, so many people are mad on Otz's behalf when I don't even think Otz is mad. He hasn't said shit. After the stream, he got on DVD and just started streaming again like it was nothing. Can we not be mad on other people's behalves so badly? Like, it's kind of pathetic. It's kind of cringy, you know? But pretty much what happened is during this stream with the Walking Dead actor there, the guy who plays Carl in The Walking Dead, they got DDoSed. Ots offered a solution. They didn't end up going with the solution that Ots offered, and they had to end the stream. Now, there are definitely reasons why they could have not gone with Ots' solution. Contracts. Again, legal contracts. People don't understand that these things need to happen. Okay? In these businesses, they don't just do things willy-nilly. They can't just change things on a whim. Now, granted, yes, they should have prepared. They should have known about this problem considering it's been in the game for years. They should have fixed it already. But they didn't. Now they might, but they didn't. And Ots had a band-aid solution, but again, there was no guarantee it would work. It's a good, yeah, it probably will work, but there's no guarantee. Okay? And then obviously you have contracts and you have to sign to be on the stream and everything. NDAs, contracts with behavior, possible contracts with AMC. It's. So they can't just throw random mods into the custom match in order to try and fix it. Now, they could have possibly done behavior employees, but again, they might not have had behavior employees there to do it. They might not have had accounts that could fill it. They just might not have had these things, and we don't know. Now, would it have been nice for behavior to say this if this was the case? Yes. But we can't just blame them. We can't just assume their intentions were they're not listening. They probably knew. They probably listened and probably were willing to do it if they could have. I think people just think the worst of behavior when I really don't think, they're that maniacal. They're not, fucking monsters. They're still people. I don't know. They're not fucking out to get people, So, were there mistakes made? Yes, definitely. They should have prepared. Could it have possibly not been something they had control over? Yes. I don't understand why this is such a hot take. This could be such a hot take. It's such a problem. Again, it's just weird, man. It's weird. And then there was a video of one of the devs, or the people, the behavior workers, cutting off the actor when he was like, oh, yeah, maybe Ots, had to fix, or could have fixed this. And then the lady was like, no, it ain't gonna fix this. I think people are really, harping on this person way too hard. She was probably in a stressful situation trying to, fix things. And the fact that she couldn't get it fixed. And you don't know why she said no. She could have said no just because of contracts or stuff like that. Not because she thought it wouldn't fix the problem, but because she couldn't actively do it. It was against her ability to do so. And it is what it is. And the actor, it is, you can't go in rage mode about this. And then people are mad because after the stream, the DBD Twitter posted a thing talking about buying the Daryl cosmetic. We do realize that most of these posts are automatic posts that are set to go off at a certain time. They cut off the stream, and then that post most likely auto-posted. They don't just... There's not a guy on the other end that was a good time to post. No. They set that up in advance, and then it posts. Getting mad over that is just dumb. Now, yes, I understand behavior has been fucking up. But I think a big thing that people need to realize is that there's recency bias and negativity bias in humans in general. Recently, behavior has been fucking up. And these fuck-ups are noticeable, and they're annoying. But I think people, because of that, are forgetting about everything else behavior has done recently. And I think it's kind of unfair. That's kind of my thoughts on it. It's pretty unfair to be oh, they never listened. They have never listened. They've listened. And I'm pretty sure the amount of times they've listened is pretty equal to the amount of times they haven't listened. But because this is new and it's negative, people will think about it more than all the positive things they've done. People are like, oh, this quality of life thing is not working. No, it is. They've added a ton of quality of life stuff into this game since they started, but for some reason people are just not, they're just focused on the bugs and not all the other benefits that this quality of life thing has brought us, like the abandoned feature, stuff like that. Like, these things are good things. The go next prevention, good thing. Like, these are good things that people are just forgetting about. And it's weird. Like, it's really weird. So that's what I gotta say about that, all that. I don't think it's as big a deal as people say it is, but the world moves on. Dead by Daylight be fine for the next couple years. People will forget about this. Whatever. Wait for Otz to say something, if anything. Just have Otz talk about it. Let him speak his mind. But anyway. Alright, that'll be it for this video. Everyone, have a good day.